So recently I've been telling stories about crazy girlfriends, whether they are my friends' girlfriends or my exes. I think it's time to talk about some crazy motherfucking dudes, because I've dated some girls where their ex-boyfriends are fucking out of this world, just insane. And today's story time is about that, okay? So about 2 years back, I was hanging out with a girl who I just started dating like 2 weeks prior to this. And she kept telling me about how she had a crazy ex-boyfriend. And, in my head, I'm imagining someone that texts her a lot, fucking always calls her, has to block his number, that kind of thing. And she's like, no, like, he's a stalker. He's weird. I'm like, what do you mean by stalker? She's like, he tried to come outside my house the other night. And I was like, oh, shit, that's actually really weird. She's like, yeah, I didn't call the cops because he just left after I asked him to leave, but, like, that's still weird. I'm like, yeah, that is weird. But anyway, after we had this conversation, we went on with our night, and everything was fine. And I actually ended up falling asleep. I wake back up at 2 in the morning to her freaking the fuck out at me. She's like, Austin, wake up, wake up. I'm like, what? She's like, you need to go out there. Like, something's going on. I'm like, go out where? She's like, outside. Someone's out there. I'm like, what the fuck? She's like, I think it's my ex. I'm like, okay, hold on. And I get up. I'm like completely fucking just out of it. I don't know what she's talking about. I'm like, there's no way there's someone outside. I'm like freaking out kind of too. So I peek out our window and I don't see anybody. And I'm like, there's no one there. She's like, no, I swear someone was just there like 5 minutes ago. And I'm like, okay, relax. Like, I'll go out there. Now, that was just me putting on my fucking white knight, that fearless, I'm so tough guy thing. That's what I was doing on the outside. But on the inside, I was just fucking freaking out. So I go and I grab a bat out of her garage. She shows me where it is. And I go outside and she just waits at the front door watching me. And I go out there. I'm like, hello, is anyone out here? And I didn't hear anything. And I look around. I don't see anything. And I gave my girlfriend the thumbs up. And she comes outside and she's like, did you see anything? I'm like, no, there's nothing out here. And she's like, okay, like, good. She's like, I don't know what the fuck that was. And she walks over to the street. She's like taking a look around. I'm like, all right, stay close. And she goes, look, that's him. And I run over there to like see what she's talking about. And she's pointing all the way down the street under a street light. Someone was walking away and they had like their hood up. And like they were really far. I don't even know how she saw him because I didn't fucking see him off first glance. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, that's the dude. Like, he was in the front yard with a hoodie on. And I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? You want me to confront him? And she's like, no, don't do that. And inside I'm just like, thank fuck. Like, I really didn't want to do that. And she's like, let's just go inside. I have a feeling I know who that is. And I'm like, okay. And we walk inside. And I'm like, I bet it's her ex-boyfriend because she was telling me about how fucking weird he was. So we go upstairs to her room. And I ask her, I'm like, could that have been your ex-boyfriend? She's like, yup. I'm like, how do you know? She's like, I don't know. Same build as him. He was here the other night. I think it was him. And I was like, okay, well, maybe you should text him. And she's like, no, fuck that. I'm like, I'm kind of worried. Like, what if he hurts you or something or like tries to hurt you? And she's like, no, I don't think he'd ever try and do that. Let's just try and get some sleep. And I'm like, all right, fine. And we lay down and she falls asleep. I don't know how. I was so freaked out, to be honest. So I stayed up pretty much the whole night, just peeking out the window every 30 minutes because I was so freaked out. And finally, when the sun started to come up, I fell asleep. And I woke up at 1 p.m. to my girlfriend angry. Like, she was yelling about something to her mom. And I hear her mom say, like, I want to call the fucking cops. Just let me call the cops. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what are they talking about? And then she goes, no, don't do that. Like, he's not going to hurt us. And I'm like, oh, okay. They're talking about the ex-boyfriend that was here last night. Like, it must have been that. So they argued for like 10 minutes. And then my girlfriend comes into her room and she sees that I'm awake. And she's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, what's going on? Like, I heard your mom and you talking. She's like, oh, I can't believe this. I can't believe we didn't see it last night. But he slashed my tires. And I'm like, holy fuck. That is so fucked up. That's what he was doing out there last night? And she's like, yeah, apparently. I'm like, I'm so sorry. She's like, no, it's okay. It's not your fault. I just don't know how I didn't see that. And I was like, well, it was dark out. Like, you couldn't see that well. She's like, yeah, but I saw him walking around in the yard, but I didn't see him like bend down and slash my tires or anything. And I'm like, hey, don't blame yourself. This is his fucking fault. We should do something about it. And she's like, well, what should we do? I'm like, you should either call the police or contact him and say, hey, I'm going to call the police if you don't pay me back for my fucking tires being slashed. And that's what ended up happening, actually. Me, my girlfriend, and her mom got in her mom's car and drove down to her ex-boyfriend's house. And when they knocked on the door, her ex-boyfriend's mom answered. And basically they explained everything that happened and how, like, he slashed her tires. And she believed them because I guess the previous night he was nowhere to be found. He must have snuck out and she knew about it. And she started apologizing and they worked something out. I don't know how much they ended up getting paid back, but all I know is that like her ex-boyfriend's mom took down her mom's contact info and they like worked something out. And I saw her ex-boyfriend actually come up to the door and say sorry. And when he was doing that, I had to kind of be a dick. Like, you slash someone's tires, I'm going to be a dick. I got out of the car and I walked up there and put my arm around her right in front of him. And he just looked so angry at me, but he couldn't do anything. Like, what's he gonna do? Hit me in front of his mom? Like, that's just embarrassing. Like, I don't know though. Knowing him, like, he'd probably be low enough to do that. But anyway, in the end, everything had a happy ending. My girlfriend's car got new tires. He paid for them, or his mom paid for him probably. I don't know. I don't think he had a job. Everything was cool. But moral of the story is, if you're a girl and you watch my videos, be careful who you date. You might just get a crazy boyfriend who you break up with, and then, I don't want anyone's tires getting slashed or anything like that. Weird stalker people. Be safe, guys. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the end of today's story time. If you enjoyed this story and found it entertaining, please leave a like on the video. Leave your stories in the comments down below. Subscribe if you're new. And yeah, I'll see you guys all later. Peace.